When we experience unplanned for or unwanted events, it can be very easy for us to label them all as bad. Whether you've just been fired, had to close your business, maybe you lost a bunch of money in the stock market, maybe you're working in a very caustic work culture, or a host of other things that could be going on in your life. Calling them bad times may not necessarily be true. What if these situations aren't bad at all, but just appear to be bad based on how we are choosing to view them? What if instead they are really blessings in disguise that just haven't been realized yet? Keep watching, and I'm going to share a few scriptural insights and a very big verse that I'm referring to it as a big verse that we have likely been misinterpreting for a long time. I can't wait to share that one with you. I'm really excited about it. And I hope what this does is give us a deeper understanding and a new perspective about what we consider to be bad times. Hi, my name is Shawn Sommerkamp, and this is Motivationeer Christian Coaching. I post 2 videos a week, so please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can be reminded when I do. Please also consider becoming a member at Motivationeer.com. Your membership really supports this channel. Thank you. I want to dive right into that big passage that I mentioned in the opening. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 14. Maybe you don't know it from that book chapter verse, but I'm sure you'll recognize it when I read it. When times are good, I don't even have to read it. I've said it so many thousands of times in my Christian walk. When times are good, be happy. When times are bad, consider God has made one as well as the other. You've probably heard this before or used it a lot to give yourself an idea of how to deal with a difficult event or situation going on in your life. Believe it or not, that's not the entire verse. That's just the verse that we remember, the part of the verse that we remember easily. And just looking at this one verse, it does appear to say, God makes good times, God makes bad times. Just keep in mind, whatever you think about it, God's made both of them. I know that's how I used to think of it back in the day. I used to just picture God saying really, hey man, suck it up, I got your back. I know what I'm doing, just suck it up, That's not really what that verse means. What I want to do is read the entire verse for you now, including the last little bit that we almost always leave off. When times are good, be happy. When times are bad, consider God has made one as well as the other. Therefore, no one can discover anything about their future. That last little bit gives us a much deeper insight into what God is really saying here. We can't tell what the future holds. No one knows it. We can't predict it. And with that little piece added onto it, it helps us really dig into what God is trying to teach us when he says, the first part, when times are good, when times are bad. We can't say whether it's good or bad because we don't know what's going to unfold in the future. All we can say is, God has allowed this to happen in his infinite wisdom. Yes, he knows what he's doing. We're not going to be investing a great energy trying to figure out if it's good or bad, right or wrong. In fact, what we mostly do when things don't go our way, we immediately look at them as bad. And all that does is kind of tank our energy. It makes us less resilient, honestly. Viktor Frankl, maybe you've heard of him before. He's a Holocaust survivor and wrote a profound work called Man's Search for Meaning. If you've never read that, please go buy that book, get the audio, listen to it. He really describes what he went through in the concentration camps. More importantly, and I think the power of the book is how he changed his way of perceiving what was going on in order to survive. He said this famous quote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." I believe that we can derive the same truth from Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 14. We can have an attitude saying, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just God. You've likely heard of that ancient Chinese proverb called "the old man lost his horse." It actually dates back to the 2nd century BC. It's a parable about not trying to determine if what's happening is good or bad. I'm going to tell the story very briefly here, giving it more in a paraphrase. It's not word for word. You can go find it online. It's very easy to look up. But basically, there's an old man on the frontier who had a horse. One day, the horse ran away. The neighbors came to him to console him and were very surprised when he said, "How do I know if this is not a fortunate event?" In fact, this confused them. Indeed, a few days later, his horse not only returned, but also brought back a valuable steed. The neighbors then came to congratulate him, only to find that the wise man once again said, "How do I know if this is a fortunate event?" A week later, the old man's son was trying to break the horse in and fell and broke his own leg trying to ride that steed. The neighbors came to the old man and tried to console him for this terrible event that happened. Once again, the old man said, "How do I know if this is not a fortunate event?" And then, as the story says, on a misty day, the emperor's army marched into the old man's village to recruit all the healthy young men for war. Luckily for the old man, his son would not be recruited because of his broken leg. And it goes on and on. Basically, the moral of the story is, we don't know if it's good or bad. This was written in the 2nd century BC. Ecclesiastes was written, almost a few 300 years prior. All things happen for a reason. We can't know what the reason is until the future unfolds itself. It's not going to do us any good by dwelling on it in a negative way as it's happening, or reflecting on it as a bad thing. Another analogy I've used in past videos, it's the roller coaster ride. All things happen for a reason. It's not good, it's not bad. And until the future unfolds itself, we're not going to know. It's not going to serve us well to invest time in the moment thinking of it as a bad thing, or spending too much energy getting really excited about something when we don't really even know if it's a great thing that's happening now. The best we can do is choose an attitude to respond in a way that's righteous, in a way that builds us up, in a way that builds others up. Job's friends concluded that Job must have been in a whole bunch of sin in order for all these quote-unquote bad things to happen to Job. They were, of course, very wrong. And as the story ended, Job was blessed by God, I think 7 times over what he had before all of the events happened to him prior. We get to choose how we're going to look at the event. Let's choose to look at every situation with curiosity. Curiosity about what God is doing. We don't know. We can't know until the future unfolds itself. But what we can do is have an attitude that does glorify God, and we stay focused and in the truth, ready to serve those around us, ready to glorify God in the process. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for 2 new videos each week. Tell me in the comments below about your career situation, and I'll make a video for you with a shout out. You can also become a member at Motivationeer.com. Your career is not just a way to make a living, it's a way to transform the world.